Hey and welcome, Miss Kira Speaks. Before we get started, I ask that you watch the videos till the end, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. We are back again for another episode of Marriage Boot Camp, Hip Hop Edition, Season 19, Episode 7, Disrespectful. Now, these notes have been done since Monday, and I'm recording this tonight, but who knows when I get to edit it and put it up. So hopefully you have your notifications on. Apologies. I thought I had printed out the wrong set of notes for the episode, but no. The episode opens and Kay and Lyrica are still going at it. Lyrica doesn't want A1 to hold her back, but Kasten is hearing none of that when it comes to Kay. Kay, she's trying to somewhat keep it cool, and then Lyrica strikes a chord by calling her butt lumpy, and Kay goes off. In her confessional, Lyrica says Kay caught her on the wrong day. She talks to A1 about Kay wanting to speak to him in the room in private, and Kay talks to Kasten about the same thing in their room. And frankly, I'm over these two. What is it that they're even beefing about at this point? It's day 7 and the focus is respect. Rich speaks to Mariah Lynn, Emmett, and Gangsta Boo about needing to find a resolve between Kay and Lyrica. Mariah Lynn says she's tired of it. It's making her feel anxious and causing friction when she was just starting to feel like she was getting to a place of healing. Lyrica feels like she's owed an apology, and everybody kind of sits around in the kitchen and discusses the program. Everyone is there and they're speaking calmly, and they all admit that they need to finish the race. All boot campers to the boot camp room. Dr. Ish wants to discuss last night. He doesn't care how it started or what it was about. They're grown and they're there to do a thing, and they're going to get it done. He tells them if they can't master their emotions, then they're never going to master life or their relationship. A whole word. And it's not easy to do, but he is absolutely right. Ish says he's rooting for them all, but he's concerned about how they speak to each other. The language you use when you speak to your partner will determine the long-term success of your relationship. How many times have you gotten into an argument and said, I wish you could see yourself right now? They will get that opportunity now. Every couple will have a familiar fight, just like at home, except they'll role play as each other. Mariah Lynn and Rich are up first. Their argument essentially is Rich thinking that he's more than Mariah Lynn, or at least that's what I took from it. And she says the infamous back of the car line that's plastered all over their room. K. Michelle in her confessional says that's disrespectful. And I agree. And I will get into my feelings about them as a couple, well, more specifically about Rich later. Rich likes to walk away from arguments, and Mariah Lynn says she's not going to chase him anymore. Mariah Lynn admits in her confessional that they both need to change the way that they talk to each other. K. Michelle and Kasten are up next. Dr. Ishq asks what's something that they fight about at home. Kay says they haven't been volatile with each other lately. They handle it silently. Kay says they fought so much and so hard that they didn't want to open those doors again. Kay remembers she was on top of a car. Kasten adds, butt naked on a Jaguar. Dr. Ish wants to hear it, and shoot, me too. We're not about to just slide past that one. Kay was going off about people on his phone, and Kasten was being Kasten, just super calm. He says all this emotional ish is making his mans shrivel up. And then Kay chased him with a butcher knife, child. Dr. Ish is like, what? And Kay is like, I wasn't going to hurt him. I was just mad. And when I hear things like that, it makes me glad I'm single, because I'm not about to do the toxic stuff no more. Kay in their confessional says she wishes he would just say things along the way to minimize a big explosive fight that they may not be able to get past. And I understood her on that one. Lyrica and A1 are up next. Lyrica has a problem with A1 working so much. A1 says he's gonna work. In the confessional, Rich says he understands. It's a young man's game. He's got to get it while he can. Lyrica wants to know when he's going to be back, and he says he doesn't know because he hasn't even got there yet. Dr. Ish tells him when there's distance between their relationship, she doesn't feel okay. Lyrica, she tears up and she admits that it's true. And Dr. Ish says a better answer would be as soon as I can. Gangsta Boo and Emmett are up next, and they're arguing about him getting over to her place. I think that was the argument. Child, all I could say was wow. Cool, calm, collected Emmett apparently curses his face off. Lola says his mama effed him all the way up, and I could tell you ain't got no daddy because you got some BA tendencies. Lola is laughing. I'm thinking, dang, she wasn't laughing when she said her mouth was a weapon. She calls him a loser when they argue, and Dr. Ish asks Emmett why he thinks that bothers him. Emmett says because sometimes he feels like he is. Now that hurt my heart, and Kay in her confessional says stuff like that stings. And Caston chimes in and adds things like that can damage the relationship long term. Dr. Ish tells Lola when the person you love the most confirms the thing that you fear or hate about yourself the most, it breaks you all the way down and it feels like you have nowhere else to go. In their confessional, Emmett says he's not a fan of being called a loser. He works hard. Lola says she'll work on it and she apologizes. So after the exercise is over, Rich pulls Lyrica to the side and tells her A1 reminds him of himself. He remembers when he didn't have it and he was struggling, and in this industry you have to get it while you can. Lyrica's like, but I was there when he had nothing. Rich reminds her that being married, they have the most to lose in the house. And he starts talking about Mariah Lynn, and honestly, I was annoyed and kind of tuned out at that point. Rich says he doesn't have trust issues, he has being played issues. Rich tells Lyrica that her and Kay, they don't need to speak for the rest of the week. Let's just go ahead and get the most out of this program. So then Lyrica and Kay Michelle end up in the kitchen together. They have some small talk, and then Kay asks to speak to Lyrica. Kay says she should have been woman enough to talk to her instead of overreacting. My mouth's so lethal, you think I never loved you. Lyrica admits that she has a chip on her shoulder from being perceived as a softie. Kay says she doesn't want bad for her, she's just mean sometimes. I had to laugh, child. A whole mess Kay Michelle is. Judge and Dr. Ish, they're watching in disbelief, but they're happy that they finally got there. It was a real grown-ass woman conversation, and I appreciated it, because as they both said earlier, that's not what they're even there for. Kay says she's always had a problem with female friends, and then they wrap up the conversation. Kay doesn't want to distract the group. They give hugs, and folks that are ear hustling, they're cheering. And then it's all boot campers come to the back patio. We see a movie screen and popcorn, and Caston thinks it's a good thing, but Kay's face says it all. Dr. Ish, he's been taking notes at the program, and I guess from whatever video footage that they've provided, and he's created a transcript of a typical fight. Now they have to say everything they've said to their partner with a boot camp catch. Rich is up first, and he's got to say all this crazy stuff to his mom, Mama Jewel. Rich is like, I said this? Everyone's laughing. Dr. Ish is like, yeah, sir, you did. In his confessional, Rich already knew that his mother was going to be disappointed. He's embarrassed after reading it and says that's not how he was raised. His mom says, why would you even want to be with somebody that you would have to talk to that way? And while my heart hurt for Mariah Lynn, Mama went wrong. Mama wants him to find someone who has a sense of who she is, that he wants to go home to every day, no matter what his day is like. It's okay because that person has his back and he has theirs. In her confessional, Mariah Lynn says she's never met Rich's mom over these 10 years, and that alone speaks volumes. In his confessional, Rich says his mom could do no wrong in his eyes. So he knew that she would be disappointed with him dating someone like Mariah Lynn with a tumultuous past. That's why he questions if this relationship is something that he can do. And I am utterly disgusted. He talks a good game with everyone else, but you're embarrassed by Mariah Lynn? Get out of here. He's awful. You feel that way? Then don't date her. She could do better. So Emmett is up and he's got to say all of these crazy things to his oldest son, John. His son was like, wow, you shouldn't talk to women like that. Emmett feels disappointed that he had to hear all of that. Dr. Ish asks Emmett what he would do if his son found himself in a relationship having to say all of those things. Emmett said he would feel like he didn't do his job and that he shorted him. He gets real emotional and he starts crying. His son says he's done everything and he's a great father and a wonderful dad to them all. He couldn't be more proud. And I start to tear up as you can see all the emotion coming from the group, because you know that parent-to-child relationship, that bond, it's real. And when they say something, it hits their heart. It's right there. It's right there. His son says his dad's a winner. He's been through a lot and he's still there. He respects him. He's loyal to him. He's his best friend. Emmett says it feels good to hear because he didn't have that relationship with his dad. So Lola lets us know in the confessional that Johnny is the one that has to set the two of them straight sometime. I believe it. Mariah Lynn is up and she has to say the awful things to the aunt that took custody of her when her mom was messed up. Aunt Ann says she's mortified and it wouldn't happen in her house. Mariah Lynn, she feels disappointed and shame. Dr. Ish tells her when she's angry to think of how she would speak in her aunt's house. If she speaks to Rich with half the amount of respect that she shows her aunt, how much better the conversation might go. Zero emotion from Rich when she sits down, by the way. Lola, she's got to say all the foolishness to the pastor. Yikes. Pastor says, never let someone rob you of your patience and peace, because when they have the ability to do that, then you are no longer in control. A word. And everybody says amen. Amen. The congregation says amen. And I think Judge Tola actually tweeted out that quote on Twitter. I see you, Judge. Caston is up and he has to say the things to his brother. Dr. Ish says he doesn't have as many disrespectful things from Caston as he does the rest of the group because Caston represses a lot. His fear is one day he's going to blow. Caston, he misses his brother and he starts crying, and because honestly I was slightly confused. He be crying, I don't know what he be crying about because he keep everything in. And Dr. Ish points out that he still doesn't know what it is that Caston wants. K. Michelle, she has to unleash her fury on Caston's mom. Damn. Kay says she would never say those things in her presence. Caston's mom, also Kim, says when you love someone, you don't talk to him bad and treat him bad. Kay has respect for his mom because she is the epitome of everything that she wants, her fairy tale. She's a successful lawyer who has raised her kids. And Dr. Ish says, next time you think about going off, think of this lady. Lyrica has to say the awful things to her mama, and she's so nervous that she's laughing as she's talking. Big Lyrica says, it's not funny, and she asks, when she spoke that way, how did that work out for you? Not well, Lyrica says. And now we have this beautiful baby Ocean that's witnessing this behavior and mimicking it. You B-word, she said, I've heard him say that, and he's 2. She doesn't understand how this could be classified as love. And I'm going to be honest, I thought she was going to take up for Lyrica. If you've seen Love and Hip Hop, you know what I'm talking about. But I guess being a grandmother has given her a fresh perspective on things. Lyrica says her mom always gets her to come around when she's upset, and she gets her to stop and take a look at the bigger picture. A1 is up and he's got to talk to the judge. They couldn't get the scheduling right with his family, and she didn't want him to miss out on participating in the activity. Judge says she wants to be the only divorce lawyer that they ever see. Well, I don't know how well that worked out for them. Are they officially divorced, or did she just file the papers and they're not legally divorced yet? Drop down in the comments and let me know. And why is A1 reading like he needs Hooked on Phonics? Lord, forgive me. Judge says, you're married. You need to speak to her like her husband. You told her mama, her daddy, her God that you would defend her, and that's what I expect you to do. In his confessional, A1 realizes that there's a lot at stake. And when he sits down, Lyrica, she's like rocking. She's self-soothing. And we all need to learn to self-soothe. I wish I had done a better job with my boys with that. Dr. Ish, he notices and he tells A1, instead of making excuses, step up and make her feel better. And he does just that. Kay in her confessional says she understands exactly how Lyrica feels. Dr. Ish says, if at any time you felt embarrassment about saying the words to the people on the screen, you knew it was disrespectful, but you went there anyway. Judge comes out and she said when she left last night, she was despondent. Today, she was pleased and she thanks Kay and Lyrica. She asked them to take the ability to solve with them and to be leaders. She says to Emmett, if that's what he's showing Lola, that ain't cool. He should be nicer to her at all times and all respects. Judge tells Kay if she wants the ring, she needs to decide why she doesn't have it yet. She can't change his mind about what he wants, but she can change how she presents it to him. Judge asks Kasten to open up more. She says, I know it's not in your nature. She says there's a lot of things that aren't in her nature that she changed in order to be with her husband. That's a 34-year-old thing that she's got, and it's worth the effort. She basically tells Mariah Lynn and Rich that they start off the conversation wrong and then resolution just isn't in their future. Judge tells Lyrica, women claim that they're great communicators, but that ain't really true. We're good at communicating with one another, but we don't speak dude very well. Judge says she speaks to her husband in a way that will get her what she wants in the long run, not make her feel better in the short term. Judge gonna give you the truth no matter how hard it is to swallow. Dr. Ish says they have to respect each other. You're never gonna spend your life with someone you don't respect or someone that doesn't respect you. A word. So we're in the kitchen and A1 and Lyrica are talking about the conversation that she had with Kay, and she's calling A1 Dr. Ish Jr. In their confessional, Lyrica says that the relationship is different from day one, that they've grown closer and they learned a lot about each other and themselves, and that she doesn't want that to end in the house. Kay, she says the same thing to Kasten. She wants to remember the techniques and not to fall back into their old ish. Rich, he's on the phone while Mariah Lynn wants to talk. He's paying her dust, and in the confessional, he's on BS because Mariah Lynn, she ain't it. In her confessional, Mariah Lynn says she needs to know her position. And if he can't give it to her, she can walk out of there with a clear mind, a pure heart, and know that the next man that she falls in love with will love her and give her all the things that Rich couldn't. Amen, girl, and I know that's right. And that is where we end. I just want Mariah Lynn to do better for herself. How did you guys like the episode? Please drop down in the comments and let me know. To me, it was one of the better episodes, so I'm sorry if this review is a little bit longer than usual. If you have made it this far, put that clapperboard down in the comments for the role that they didn't want. I hope you'll come back and join me for my review of episode 8 that is already out. Keep your notifications on. While you are here, check out some of my other content. Thank you. And before you go, like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you. Peace.